Social media is fun, but too much of anything can be harmful. Agnes had only joined TikTok a few months ago. Her sister-in-law introduced her to live streaming, and since then, her life had changed completely. She was now glued to her phone all day, morning, afternoon, and night, whether she was cooking, eating, washing, or even feeding her toddler. She simply couldn't live without her phone. If she wasn't careful, she might even start streaming in her dreams while she slept. At this point, Agnes was deeply obsessed with live streaming. It was the only thing that brought her joy. But the same thing that gave her happiness could one day take it away. Let's follow Agnes' journey, and I hope you learn from this incredible story. Agnes was a simple Nigerian woman married to Ebuka, a hard-working man who loved her deeply. They had a cheerful, playful 2-year-old son named Chimi, the light of their home. They lived peacefully in a comfortable apartment in Lagos, their family happy and content. One afternoon, Agnes went to visit her sister-in-law. As they sat in the living room, her sister-in-law picked up her phone and began live streaming. "Sis, have you tried this before?" Uni asked with a smile at the camera. "No," Agnes replied, watching with curiosity. Uni turned the camera towards Agnes. "Everyone, meet my beautiful sister-in-law Agnes. Should she join TikTok Live?" Agnes laughed shyly as comments flooded the screen. "She's so pretty. Yes, let her join." Uni handed Agnes the phone. "Try it. Just say hello." Agnes hesitated but then spoke into the camera. "Hello everyone." More comments came in. "Wow, I love her voice. She looks like a queen." Agnes smiled, feeling an unexpected thrill. She had never received so much attention before. "You should start live streaming," Uni said. "You can make money from it too." That was the moment everything changed. Agnes didn't waste any time. That evening, she downloaded TikTok and created her account. She started going minutes, greeting her small number of followers. But within weeks, hundreds of viewers were watching her daily. She enjoyed the compliments and gifts from strangers. People told her she was beautiful, funny, and interesting. She felt special. She felt seen. But as days passed, things got worse. Agnes became glued to her phone 24/7, morning, afternoon, and night. She was always live streaming, ignoring everything around her, her husband, her home, even her son. She streamed while cooking, eating, washing clothes, and even feeding Chimi. It had become part of her life, something she couldn't live without. Aimcha noticed. At first, he didn't mind. He was glad Agnes had found something she enjoyed. But as weeks went by, he started to worry. One evening, as Agnes prepared dinner, she was busy reading comments on her live stream and forgot the pot of soup on the stove. By the time Aimcha came into the kitchen, smoke was, "Agnes, are you mad?" he shouted, rushing to turn off the fire. Agnes laughed nervously. "Sorry, my love. I was distracted." "Distracted by what, your phone?" Aimcha was so angry. "You could have burned the whole house down." But instead of feeling guilty, Agnes was annoyed. "It's not that serious," she said, walking back to her phone. Aimcha shook his head. He knew something was wrong. At first, he tried to ignore it. Maybe Agnes was just excited about her new hobby. He told himself it would pass. But days turned into weeks, and the situation only got worse. Every morning before Aimcha even left for work, Agnes was already live streaming, still in her nightgown, laughing into her phone while strangers showered her with compliments. By the time he returned in the evening, she was still glued to her phone. Plates from breakfast and lunch would still be in the sink. The house would be a mess, clothes scattered everywhere, toys littering the floor. And worst of all, Chimi, their 2-year-old son, would be hungry, running around in a dirty diaper. One evening, Aimcha came home exhausted after a tough day at work. All he wanted was to rest. But as he stepped into the living room, the sight before him made his blood boil. Chimi was on the floor, his diaper soaked and sagging. The entire room was in disarray. Crumbs and food stains on the sofa. An overturned cup of juice on the table. And Agnes? She was in the corner, fully dressed and made up, posing in front of her phone for a live session. "Hey guys, should I wear this outfit for my next video or try another one?" she asked her viewers, twirling in front of the camera. Aimcha clenched his fists. "Agnes!" She barely heard him. "Agnes!" He shouted louder this time. She finally turned. What is it? She asked, feeling irritated. Aimcha pointed at Chimi. Look at your son. She glanced briefly at the crying child and shrugged. He's fine. He just wants attention. Then she turned back to her phone. Sorry guys, my husband is being dramatic as usual. Aimcha couldn't believe his ears. Acting dramatic, he repeated. He marched over and grabbed her phone. In one swift motion he ended the live stream and tossed the phone onto the couch. Agnes gasped. Aimcha, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with me? He shot back. What is wrong with you? She rushed to pick up her phone, checking the screen. Do you know how many people were watching me? Do you know how embarrassing this is? Aimcha felt his head spinning. Embarrassing? He pointed at their son who was still crying. Your child has been sitting in a dirty diaper for God knows how long. The house is a mess. There is no food. And all you care about is live streaming. Agnes said. Aimcha, you don't understand. This is what makes me happy. This is my escape. Escape from what? Your responsibility. Aimcha crossed his arms. You just don't support me. Complain. For yourself? What about your family? He asked. She rolled her eyes. It's just live streaming. Why are you making it seem like a crime? Aimcha took a deep breath, trying to control his temper. Agnes, listen to me carefully. You are losing yourself. This thing you call a phone is becoming a problem. She scoffed. You're just being controlling. I'm trying to save our marriage. Aimcha snapped. You don't cook anymore. You don't clean. You don't take care of Chimi. You're always on that damn phone. Agnes folded her arms. You're exaggerating. Am I? He walked into the kitchen and opened the pot. Empty. The fridge was empty. Where is dinner? He asked. Agnes didn't answer. Aimcha shook his head. You know what? I'm done talking. He turned to leave. Where are you going? She asked. To buy food for me and my son, since his mother has abandoned us for strangers online. Agnes flinched at his words but didn't respond. Instead, she picked up her phone and resumed her live stream. Guys, I swear men are so dramatic, she told her viewers. My husband is just jealous because I'm famous now. Aimcha heard her voice as he stepped out of the house. His heart ached. This was not the woman he married, and for the first time since they got married, he began to wonder if he made a one afternoon. While making stew, Agnes placed a pot of oil on the fire and went live. She got so lost in her comments that she forgot the oil was heating. Minutes later, thick smoke filled the kitchen. The pot had almost caught fire. Chimi was in the playpen, coughing from the smoke. Aimcha came back home just in time. He stomped into the kitchen and turned off the gas. What is wrong with you, Agnes? Agnes gasped when she saw the smoke. Oh my God, I didn't notice. You didn't notice your son is in here? He could have suffocated. Agnes looked at Chimi, who was still coughing, and her stomach tightened with guilt. But the moment passed, and she picked up her phone again. That night, Aimcha made a painful decision. If Agnes didn't change, he would take Chimi and leave. Just a few weeks later, one fateful afternoon, the sun was high in the sky as Agnes arrived at her friend Bella's house. It was a beautiful mansion in Lekki, with tall palm trees lining the driveway and a sparkling blue swimming pool in the backyard. Agnes had been excited about the visit all week. Bella was one of her live stream friends, a fellow live streamer who loved showing off her luxurious lifestyle. Today was the perfect opportunity for Agnes to impress her followers even more. She dressed in a stylish, tight-fitting dress, did her makeup perfectly, and made sure her phone was fully charged. Chimi, her 2-year-old son, wore a small blue t-shirt and shorts, his tiny feet moving excitedly as he toddled behind her. The moment they stepped into Bella's compound, Agnes pulled out her phone. Hello, my people, she said, going live immediately. Look at this mansion. Look at this swimming pool. I swear this life is sweet when you have money. Her followers flooded the comments. Wow, see the enjoyment. You're living the soft life, queen. Agnes, show us more, please. Agnes beamed, turning the camera around to capture every corner of the house. Bella came out to greet her, laughing. My influencer friend, you in this live streaming. You know I must give my people content. Agnes replied, walking around the pool. holding the phone at the perfect angle to capture her beauty and the luxury surrounding her. Meanwhile, little Chimi was playing by the poolside, chasing after a butterfly. He giggled as his tiny feet tapped against the tiles. His eyes focused on the colorful insects dancing in the air. Agnes, lost in her world of likes and comments, didn't notice how close he was getting to the edge. Her fans she laughed. You people will not kill me with enjoyment. Then splash. A small sound, a disturbance in the water, barely noticeable. Chimi had fallen into the pool. At first, he didn't understand what was happening. One moment he was standing. The next, he was sinking. The water was cold. His tiny hands flailed. His mouth opened to scream, but all that came out were bubbles. His big innocent eyes searched for his mother. But Agnes was still laughing, still holding her phone, still lost in the world of live streaming. Seconds passed. Chimi kicked his legs, struggling to stay afloat. His small body fought, his little fingers reaching out for someone, anyone, to save him, but no one was watching. A few minutes passed, then another. The struggle slowed. His tiny body became weaker. His eyes, once bright and full of life, started to close. At that moment, Aimcha was on his way home from work. As he drove, he had an uneasy feeling in his chest. Something felt wrong. He didn't know why, but he had an urge to call Agnes. He dialed her number. No answer. Probably on that stupid live stream again, he muttered. Still, the bad feeling wouldn't go away. Instead of going home, he decided to drive to Bella's house. When he arrived and stepped into the compound, he heard only laughter. He walked closer and saw her standing by the pool, holding her phone up, reading comments. Then he saw it. His heart stopped. Floating in the pool, barely moving, was Chimi. Jesus Christ! Aimcha screamed. Agnes looked up, startled. What is it again? Aimcha didn't answer. He ran past her, diving into the pool with all his strength. Water splashed everywhere as he grabbed his son and pulled him out. Chimi's body was limp. His lips were pale. His eyes were closed. Chimi, wake up. Please, my son. Aimcha shouted, shaking him. Nothing. Aimcha placed Chimi on the ground and started pressing his small chest, trying to push the water out. Aimcha pressed on Chimi's chest. Breathe. Please, baby, breathe. Tears streamed down his face. Bella screamed. The security guard rushed over, but Agnes stood frozen, her phone still in her hand. She stared at her child, a deep horror washing over her. She hadn't noticed all this time. She had been live streaming, talking to strangers, reading comments, while her son was drowning just a few feet away. Her heart pounded as she dropped her phone with shaking hands. Oh my God, I didn't see, I didn't know. Aimcha turned to her, his face twisted in anger and pain. Where were you, Agnes? Where were you? You have finished me. She had no answer because she already knew. She had been live streaming, and now she had lost everything. Emeka's world shattered. He knelt beside Chimi, cradling the boy's small lifeless body in his arms, rocking him gently as though that alone could bring him back. His tears dripped onto Chimi's cold skin. His hands trembled as he grasped the boy's tiny fingers that once held onto his whenever they walked together. Wake up, my son, please, he begged, his voice breaking. Chimi, it's Daddy. Open your eyes, please. But there was no response. Bella stood nearby, hands on her head, screaming. Somebody call an ambulance. The security guard rushed inside the house to find help. But Aimcha knew deep in his heart. He knew it was already too late. Chimi was gone. And the worst part? His own mother, his protector, his caregiver, had let it happen. Aimcha turned to Agnes, his eyes burning with fury. You did this, he whispered, his voice shaking. You killed our son. Agnes fell to her knees, gripping her hair. No, I didn't mean to. I didn't know. I didn't see. Her voice cracked. Her body shook violently as reality crushed her like a heavy stone. Aimcha jumped to his feet. He had never hit a woman before, but in that moment rage consumed him. If Bella and the security guard hadn't held him back, he might have done something he would regret. Let me go, he roared. She left my son to die. Agnes sobbed uncontrollably. She cried beside Tim's lifeless body, touching his small face. My baby, please wake up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But the boy she had once carried in her womb, the boy she had bathed, fed, and rocked to sleep, did not move. Her phone still lay on the ground, the screen glowing. The comments kept coming. What's happening? Why is everyone screaming? OMG, is that a child? Then one comment stood out, piercing Agnes's heart like a knife. She was too busy chasing fame to notice her own son drowning. The phone suddenly felt like poison. The device that had once given her so much joy. The device she had sacrificed everything for. Her home, her marriage, her family, was now the cause of her ruin. She grabbed it and smashed it against the ground. The screen shattered into tiny pieces. But it was useless. The damage had already been done. Minutes later, the ambulance arrived. The paramedics checked Chimi, but just as Aim Cha had feared, he was gone. The lead paramedic sighed and looked at Aim Cha. I'm sorry, sir. He didn't move. Emeka's whole body felt numb as they covered the small body with a white cloth. He turned away, unable to watch. He stared at the sky, hands on his head. Agnes let out an earth-shattering scream. No, my baby. Please take me instead. Take me instead. The paramedics gently carried Chimi away, leaving only an empty space where he had once been. Aim Cha turned back to Agnes, his face like stone. You were supposed to protect him, he said, his voice low but filled with hatred. Agnes clutched his legs. Aim Cha, please, I'm sorry. I swear I don't know. I didn't mean for this to happen. He looked down at her, jaw clenched. I never want to see you again. Agnes gasped as his words sank in. No, Aim Cha, please don't leave me. Don't take my family away from me. But he had already made his decision. He turned to the police officers who had just arrived with the ambulance. My wife was negligent. Her carelessness led to the death of my son, he said, his voice cold and lifeless. I want her arrested. Agnes's eyes widened in horror. No, you can't do this to me. One of the officers stepped forward. Madam, you need to come with us. No, please. I'm his mother. I'm his mother. Agnes screamed as the officers grabbed her arms. Bella covered her mouth in shock, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe this was happening. Aim Cha didn't say another word. He simply turned and walked away. For the first time, Agnes felt crushing loneliness. She had lost everything, her son, her husband, her home. All because she couldn't put down her phone. As the police dragged her away, the only sound in the air was her screams. At the police station, the events of the past few hours played in Agnes's mind like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. The walls seemed to close in on her. The silence was deafening. Her son was gone. Her husband had left her. And now she was in jail. She had heard the whispers of the officers. Can you imagine a mother so addicted to live streaming that she let her own child drown? Shame burned through her like fire. The Agnes from a few months ago, that the loving mother, the devoted wife, was gone, replaced by a woman who had chosen strangers on a screen over her own family. She closed her life, just to turn back time, just to hold him one more time. The sound of the iron door opening startled her. She looked up to see Aim Cha standing there. His face was unreadable, but his eyes held only coldness. Agnes jumped to her feet. Please, I'm begging you. Don't let them keep me here. I made a mistake, but I didn't mean to. Aim Cha raised his hand, silencing her. You think sorry will bring back my son? Tears streamed down her face. Please, I will do anything. Just don't leave me here. Aim Cha shook his head sharply. Agnes, you already lost me the moment you let our son die. I came here for one reason, to tell you that I am filing for a divorce. Agnes felt the ground shift beneath her feet. No, please don't do this. I've made my decision, he said firmly. I hope you learn from this, but I will never forgive you. He turned and walked away without looking back. As the cell door closed again, Agnes sank to the floor, her body racked with uncontrollable sobs. She had thought live streaming was her happiness, but in the end it had taken everything from her. Now all she had left were regrets. Live streaming had given her so much joy, but the same live streaming had taken her happiness away. Now it was very clear that obsession is bad. Too much of everything indeed is bad.